Hi everyone, this is Debby. Welcome to The Sane Progressive. This is a subject that I need to call out hard right now. All over the alternative media right now, they're touting Tulsi Gabbard's election bill. Tulsi Gabbard's election bill is a scam. And they're trying to tell you that if you have paper ballots and open source code software, then you are going to have protected elections. Russia is about, mainly, it is a cover-up for an internal crime. What happened in 2016 was an internal crime. Hillary Clinton was to be the installed candidate. Period. We saw mass election fraud. We saw election rigging. We saw voter registration flipping. We saw voting machine flipping. We saw absentee ballot stuffing. We saw caucus cheating caught on C-SPAN. We saw a rigged coup before our very eyes. And it was not just Clinton and the DNC colluding with the media. It was Clinton colluding with the deep state. It was the CIA and the friggin' FBI. They were in on it. And I've showed this a million times. The Department of Homeland Security IP addresses were coming up around important election dates, and they were coming up on voter registration systems all over the country. So the real story that none of these people talk about is the fact that we had infiltration from our own intelligence community that were working to do the cheat, okay? We have a rigged election system. We have a system that is not Democrat or Republican anymore. We have a corrupted, infiltrated system where we have Democrats and Republicans playing off this game of good cop, bad cop. We have the shadow organizations, the intelligence community, the NSA, all of them. They have usurped the power of the politicians, and they dictate and they tell us who we are allowed to have as a president. And they are part of the installation of how we have presidents installed. And everybody right now is like, oh, we're going to get paper ballots. You know that 90% of machines already have the capacity for ballot scan images. They're already there. It exists now. It exists now. So what that means is you turn on those machines and you get the ballot scan images, that creates a record. And you have a receipt for the vote. It already exists. Do you know what they did in these elections in 2016? That capacity to document, and a lot of these machines already have paper ballots. Paper ballots don't mean anything. You know what paper ballots do? They give you an illusion. Because the fact is, people have been trying all over to do lawsuits. John Brakey, Audit Arizona, all over this country, people are trying to do and get the ballot images. Oh, we didn't turn it on. We didn't turn it on. And Tim Canova, there's paper ballots down there against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And you know what happened? They got thrown in the trash. He went to do an audit. The court ruled with him, and the ballots are gone. The Department of Homeland Security just took over on a lie, the Russia lie, the need to take over the critical infrastructure of our elections. And do you know what they control? They control the ballot storage locations. Try to get an audit where they are guarding the ballots. Here's a question for you. Tulsi Gabbard is in on that lie. She praises Robert Mueller, was one of the lead salesmen of the Iraq weapons of mass destruction lie. And he was the head of George W. Bush's FBI, who illegally imprisoned Muslims so they could develop war propaganda. And that woman praises that. She voted for Russia sanctions on lies. Jimmy's all over the Russia lie, and he's right. It's a fairy tale. And the only reason I'm calling about Jimmy Dore isn't to attack Jimmy Dore. He has this huge audience. He has a bigger audience than I do, and he's sitting there and he's leading people off a cliff.
They want you to keep thinking about Russia, and some Twitter bots somehow overcame $5 billion in free advertising given to Donald Trump, $2 billion spent by the Hillary campaign. All the 13-12, oh my God. That is nothing but propaganda. That is WMDs all over again. I lived through
Jimmy Dore is advancing the WMDs of election reform right now. So right there you see Jimmy Dore very, very upset. Jimmy, you know what Russia is about? It's not, Russia is not being used to distract. Listen to this, Jimmy. Listen to this. Listen to Nancy Pelosi.
As members of Congress, we proudly take an oath of office to support and defend the Constitution and protect the American people. 1 year ago, that oath was tested when the U.S. Intelligence Committee concluded that Russia interfered in the 2016 elections and will do so again. Since then, more information about the scale of Russia's rising threat to our democracy has emerged. The unprecedented attack requires a whole-of-government response. The American people deserve a comprehensive and fair investigation into the totality of Russia's attack on our electoral system. Yet the Republican-controlled House continues to block Democrats' efforts to investigate the attack. Last week, I sent a letter calling on Speaker Ryan to allow the Intelligence Committee to continue its investigation, but received no response. Today, the House has held only one full committee public hearing on the most significant finding of the report, the continued vulnerability of our elections to foreign interference.
There it is. The continued, listen to that phrase, the continued vulnerability of our elections until foreign interference. So Jimmy Dore, let me tell you something. They aren't using Russia to distract. They are using Russia to sell the new form of cheat that Pelosi is behind. And you know who else used that word? You know who else used that word? The foreign interference of elections? That would be James Woolsey. James Woolsey went last spring, and there was a conference, and it was about stopping the foreign interference into the United States election system. And the entire thing was based on the election lie. And I've been pointing to this again and again. Pelosi just used it. Foreign interference. You see it on the news every night. Russia's going to interfere. We have to act now. We have to act now. Brian Fox, who wrote an article in 2017 with James Woolsey about how we need to act to protect our elections with this scam of open source voting and this scam of paper ballots, which won't work because they control the mechanisms. It is impossible to have any kind of oversight or real transparency in our election when the criminals and the foxes are in charge of the hen house. It is a red herring. It is a way for them to institute a new system of cheat, which the Department of Homeland Security will have control. You know the voter registration systems and the audit locations and who has the decisions over their machinery? The Department of Homeland Security. Go look at the histories of Jay Johnson and James Woolsey and Michael Chertoff and all of the people who have made the recommendations for these changes. They are part of a criminal mob syndicate. And right now, the American people are being duped because they have controlled opposition. You have to deal with corruption. You have to deal with the issue of the fact that we have a corrupted system. And so what's going on right now is this. They cheated. They cheated the election in 2016. It was an internal crime. It was a collusion between the intelligence community, the Department of Homeland Security, the Clintonites, the DNC, and the media. And those organizations that implemented that cheat are now telling you all over that we need to act because Russia's going to get us again when they didn't get us the first time. They're going to use this so they can install a new, more covert system of cheat. If we cannot wake up to how they control us in real time, then forget about it. Enjoy your life and fiddle while Rome burns. Because this is what we've been dealing for ages with this country.